midday right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Let's bring you up to speed with those big happenings in politics and in the polity at midday. It appears late-night meeting between the leadership of the NLC and President Bola Tinubu may not have stopped the workers from going on with his planned nationwide protest against national insecurity. Chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, submits petition to the ICPC accusing the NMDPR boss, Ahmed Farouk, of corruption and financial impropriety. Thanks again for staying with us, and let's give you that all-access pass we always talk about. And what's playing out in our country right now is that organized labor, the Nigeria Labour Congress, is actually leading the charge against national insecurity. So you're seeing visuals earlier today, and we understand a lot is supposed to happen across the country. So members of the Labour Congress and some of the affiliate civil society members gathered at the NLC Secretariat in Abuja to protest against the lingering insecurity in the country. The protesting workers have filed out of the NLC Secretariat, guided by officials of the DSS, the police and civil defense corps. Their destination is still unknown, but they appear to be facing the three-armed zone. According to the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajero, their demands for the federal government includes the immediate solution to the rising insecurity across the country, as well as the biting economic situation, which it says is at the core of the insecurity in our nation.
Before now, we did a letter to the president to discuss state of the nation with him. And that was in June, precisely June 16th. And between that time and now, we have made efforts. A letter to the minister, through the Minister of Labour, acknowledged. Letter to the CSO, to the president, acknowledged. A letter through the secretary to the government, acknowledged. And between June and now, some of them acknowledged on the 17th. Exactly 6 months today. Between that time and now, none of them communicated to the president. And part of the discussion we wanted to go to the president is on national issue of security, both physical security, physical insecurity and financial insecurity. So it took this issue of action, which was basically to protest and to list to them the level of physical and financial insecurity that the workers are passing through. That yesterday, I think through the governors forum, through the progressive governors, we were able to secure a meeting with the president, and we listed all these issues, including the issue of a crisis in the academic tertiary institutions. And we were clear with him, of course he agreed, that there should be a negotiating machinery in the academic, in the tertiary institutions.
Well, away from that, let's tell you what's also playing out in the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry. Has been on for a while, where the chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has now formally submitted a petition against the managing director of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NNDPRA, who is the authority chief, Ahmed Farouk, to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPCA. They accuse him of corruption and financial impropriety. In the petition submitted through his lawyers and his lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Ogu Onoja, Mr. Dangote demanded the arrest, investigation and prosecution of Mr. Ahmed for allegedly living above his means as a public servant, spending over $7 million for the education of his 4 children in different schools in Switzerland. According to him, Mr. Ahmed is using the instruments of NMDPRA to embezzle and divert public funds for self-gain.
We have no choice than to formally present a petition against him. We have evidence. The petition has already been submitted and acknowledged by the ICPC. You can see it from here. Now, we attach evidence of monies that are being expended as school fees for his children in excess of $7 million annually. And we wonder, a civil servant in Nigeria, where he gets that kind of money to pay school fees alone and other logistics this on behalf of his children. So we have the right as taxpayers, our client has the right as a taxpayer to present this petition against these excesses of a public officer. It's for the commission to investigate, and if they found that a prima facie case has been established against the said engineer Farouk Ahmed, the formal prosecution will be taken up against him, and the law will take its course. The law is not a respecter of any person, no matter how highly placed.
Meanwhile, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has confirmed receiving a formal petition submitted by business mogul Alhaji Aliko Dangote through his legal representative. In a statement released by the Commission's on the Commission's official ex-handle, ICPC spokesperson Mr. John Ode disclosed that the petition targets the chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Alhaji Farouk Ahmed. The Commission assured that the public that the allegations raised in the petition will be thoroughly examined in line with due process. Let me bring in my guest, who is a key player in the oil and gas sector, in the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry, Mr. Dr. Gillis-Harry is the president of PETROAN. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Dr. Harry, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here.
There's a lot to unpack. Your sector has been headlining a lot this period. So, but there's a background to all of this. But I don't know where you want to jump in on this, whether you want to make a quick comment on this face-off between Ahmed Farouk and Aliko Dangote. And this is the offshoot of disagreement or grievances, if you will, by Aliko Dangote saying arbitrary granting of licenses to importers of petroleum products between importers and international traders, and all the many things he talked about, which is, in his view, is aimed at sabotaging local refiners. What do you make of it?
Well, in the matter of his report and his allegation, I am completely not acquainted, with the necessary information to make any, contribution to it. But as far as I know, anybody that has a complaint and allegation to make also has the onus of proof. So I believe that Engineer Farouk is a man of decency, is a man that I believe has a good character, and he will respond, I'm sure, very adequately, because it will be difficult to explain, make an explanation into something that I'm not fully acquainted with.
Yeah, I can understand you excusing yourself from it. I just thought maybe you have a comment, because this is like the biggest refinery, one of the biggest refineries in the world. I think it's the 7th largest, Africa's richest, or the richest black man in the world. And this is Nigeria, the most populous nation. So this is a conversation, this conversation is beyond Aliko Dangote and Ahmed Farouk. It's about the subsector of the oil and gas industry, which is the midstream and downstream sector. But let's get to some of the complaints that are being raised, and that has to do with the issue of which Nigerians also would like persons like you who are key players in that sector to respond to. One of Aliko's concern, Alhaji Aliko's concern, is that why are we still importing when we have local refining capacity to be able to sort out our local consumption and possibly be a net exporter of petroleum product? The aspiration has always been energy sovereignty, energy security, if you will, and then being a net exporter of petroleum product. It looks like we're closer, but he's raising alarm that there's a sabotage. What do you make of it?
Well, he's a businessman that has his network of information and intelligence, so he's free to say what he wants to say. It's a free country. But what will concern me is availability of petroleum product and also affordability of petroleum products. As far as we know, our members very, very want to buy petroleum product from the Dangote Refinery, and we do so verily. We also buy from other sources, especially the imported products. Clearly, it's because we do not see the efficiency that is being bantered. You know, the size of production that is claiming to serve the daily consumption needs of the country. Because there are cases, there are times we pay for products and we do not get it at the same time. We don't get it. So if there is reality that we should pursue in this matter, there should be empirical evidence. Evidence to be able to show that I got an allocation of 450,000 liters of any kind of product from the Dangote Refinery. I went to my bank, raised money and paid, and the next 2 days is processed and I have taken my product. That is not the case. So we have issues where we have paid products and then it takes a little while to get expected in the industry. So it will be a much clearer story if we say that, look, Dangote Refinery is producing X amount of product every day, and let us consume that first. Let us make that our numero uno of our consumption, our purchasing need. And then if there are lapses, products that is still there that is not produced, then we can look for other sources. And I believe that is why we supported Dangote Refinery and also supported the importation and supply of product from other sources. Because at the end of the day, Nigerians need to have this product to fire the engine of the economic growth. So the situation where we are, where I can just come and say what I want, and then there's no proof, it's difficult for me to, understand. So if there are no imported products, I can tell you that in the last 6, 7, 9 months, Nigerians would have been looking for, alternative sources of products, which may cost us more. But we're happy.
My apologies, sir. My apologies, sir. I want to let's put a few facts on the table. So there's always been a debate around the accuracy of the volume of PMS we consume in Nigeria, using PMS here, just PMS. There's been the debate. In fact, there's been allegations of fraud, allegations of wrong figures just to perpetrate criminality. So there are so many things being said. So can you say for a fact that we know from where you sit as a player in the subsector how much PMS Nigeria consume on the average? Then how much PMS comes out of the Dangote Refinery daily that we can now match and say whether or not it's meeting up? We can also, from there, we can now expand the conversation to other issues of multiple sources of supply to fight monopoly.
There's a dependable source of empirical evidence. There is no liter of product that leaves any depot, including Dangote's refinery, that is not recorded by the NMDPRA. You cannot lift any liter of product from any depot without it being recorded and approved by NMDPRA. So whatever empirical data that we have there should be relied on. But in addition to that, we, in our own organization, in order to keep discipline and value, developed what is called PCAC Primis. We started with the Petroleum Product Passport, and then we migrated to PCAC, which is PETRON, Quality Assurance, Quality Control, Primis, which is a Price Monitoring Intelligence System. And with that, most of our members are gradually getting on board to use this technology. It helps us to be able to track what we are doing, because it also helps us to manage our retail outlets successfully, in partnership with companies like Upfuel and Petroleum Pricing NG that is working closely with us. So this debate can only be brought to the table when there is a third party application that can be able to gather and pursue this data. And I believe that if the government works with the technology that PETROAN has produced, it will go a long way to support those arguments. But as it is today, it is he say, she say. But we have a database collated by the NMDPRA that is very, very dependable at this time. So I believe that we should depend on that to be able to give ourselves the information, and you have access to it because it's a public access information database.
So are we saying, because I have seen, the reason I had to ask you, because you're an insider, I go to NNDPR, I go to NUPRC to look at numbers, because that's the official numbers to report. We've seen numbers like 50 million liters per day, we see number like 40-something million liters per day. But Dangote, I think from people who represent him, have mentioned to the effect that we're having issues around, we're having about 40 million liters of PMS coming out of the Dangote Refinery. So to that extent, he may be able to, service the country. I don't know what you respond to that as far as those figures are concerned. Is that something we can rely on, 50 against 40?
My response is that as a businessman, I cannot be more informed than the regulatory authority. I can't be more informed than the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They have much more intelligence. They have much more wider reach. So when any individual businessman claims to know much more than that, that for me is a difficulty. That's why when we started our technological foray into ensuring that we keep data, we got the government to be aware and to be involved in it. And that is the way I think any patriotic individual or corporate organization should behave. Because we cannot be bigger than our country. Yes, we know that we're in this difficulty because NNPC has not delivered on the mandate of at least making sure that the refineries are working. But I believe that with the current, energy, the gravitas that's been put in by the BIOS, administration, something good is going to come out of that. Hopefully, if those refineries, if some of the refineries that are producing PMS are working, we will not be in this situation where we are always getting to the media to argue about what our business. This is our business, and we shouldn't be discussing about it all the time in the public domain. Yes, it affects the public, and where it affects the public, we need to be able to inform the public accurately. So that's my take. I don't want to say somebody's figure is right or somebody's figure is wrong. We have the NMDPRA that is situated at every depot, and you cannot even bring a tanker to load there without NMDPRA getting that information. And that's why they can tell you the unique numbers of tankers, petroleum tankers that are lifting from anywhere in the country. And on a daily basis, they can give you that information. That is why they can also tell you that this is the quantity of petroleum product that's lifted. So we should depend on that data.
Yes. Apparently, Mr. Gillis-Harry, I think what we seem to be making out of the nuances around all of this, that there's a lot of trust issues around this whole. We have a low trust quotient as a nation, after all. So it looks like it affects every other sector. So whatever NNDPR say, it becomes even difficult. And NNDPR, sometimes they are to be blamed in some of these things because sometimes they are not forthcoming in engagements like this. I called you, we call these guys, they come out because whoever is saying the most and looks the most to be most credible as far as this conversation, it's a conversation or narrative war we're dealing with here. But this is about facts and figure and our national sovereignty, energy sovereignty as far as this is concerned. That's why we need them to come out and speak. But let's move from there. I'm going to come back to this issue in just a moment. Let's move from there to another allegation that was laid by some of the people who speak for Dangote to the effect that let's even agree without conceding, okay, we cannot, in all honesty, allow a monopoly in any sector because when there is competition, prices crash, the environment is good for everyone. In fact, more players come in, so there's business to flow for everyone. But the argument is that some of the quality of the products that are being imported into the country is substandard. And he's arguing that why are there different rules for different people? If you subject my own to, say, a test, or if you're doubting the quality of mine, take me to a lab. There's even the argument against the NNDPRA that they don't have a standard lab to test the quality of products that come into the country. Is that true? I don't know. But you are the player here. How is the quality of the petroleum product that comes into our country?
Well, as far as I know, we've had petroleum products that has come into this country that are substandard, but that is so many years back. So many years back. We've had petroleum products in the military era that even the smell, the odor of the petrol was enough, to cause anybody to gasp. But those are all things that, on a daily basis, in my opinion, are being addressed by the authorities. So we cannot be returning back to several years ago to judge what is in 2025. And to my knowledge, NMDPRA has a robust laboratory department. So I keep wondering why it is so frontal that there is no lab. So what are those staff doing? There are staff working in their laboratories. And the test, for instance, before Dangote Refinery started loading out their refined PMS and all of that, it took so long because NMDPRA needed to satisfy the quality of the product. And we know how long that took, and even it took a lot of intervention from different sources before, corrections and different specifications done before NMDPRA gave certification for any product to be lifted out of Dangote Refinery. So how does it get that, it's so easy to just accuse an organization of this mammoth size that the smallest part of the job...
No, Mr. Gillis-Harry, my apologies to you. I do not intend that you do the heavy lifting for NMDPRA. You're a PETROAN. Your job is, to get your product from wherever it is. But because you're a player in that sector, I believe you have some insight. If some of these things are not true, what is stopping the NMDPRA to come out and show us that this thing this person said is a lie? Some of us are journalists, we're ready to track, we're ready to move. Say, this is our lab, this is how it works. They bring the technical people. It's not a cult, it's public. So why is that difficult? Because the more people are saying you do not have a functional lab to test product to be sure it's of standard, and they are not talking, they are not showing us videos or pictures or taking journalists around, how else do we know what's going on?
Well, civil service has their own rules. I was only talking about just what I know.
Okay.
I've been in the industry quite a long time to know exactly what happened. But I believe that if the media approaches NMDPRA for evidence of what they do, I'm sure they will oblige. Because I'm aware that NMDPRA calls for some kind of monthly or quarterly press briefings, from time to time. So some of these questions can then be asked at those questions, and I'm sure that answers will be given. Just the same way we're able to find out a couple of things about claims, counterclaims and counterclaims. So in my opinion, I think at this time, we should look for how to serve Nigerians, how to make Nigeria a better place. Some of these distractions, they are not necessary. That's my opinion. We need to serve Nigeria. We're having difficulty. Look, some of my, even right now as I'm coming on this, some of my members are complaining. Today, they had to put their prices down by as much as 10 naira, 15 naira a litre. And those are products they bought before they change your prices. So how do we continue to work like this? And then you are accusing somebody of arbitrarily issuing import license, and then you are also arbitrarily changing prices, not minding the financial difficulties that it will bring, to players in the industry.
Yeah, Mr. Gillis-Harry,
Yes.
in closing, I saw one of the dailies, and I will need you to confirm this, where some of the partners of the Dangote Refinery has now, of course, the pricing you talked about, drop price to 737 naira, 739 naira per litre of petrol. They say the PETROAN is kicking against it. So for the layman, this is, I want you to answer the layman. Assume all of us are lay people. A lot of people are not happy with government because government removed subsidy. Now, pump price of petrol got beyond 1,000. Now it's less than 1,000, revolving around 800 and 900. And suddenly, someone is saying, I'm going to bring it down even further to 700. And then another player in the sector is saying, why are you bringing it down? So explain to us what we don't understand that is playing out here. Because everybody would have expected that bringing prices down make all of us happy. But it looks like PETROAN is not happy. And why?
No. That is a wrong narrative. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to clear that. PETROAN is not against the reduction of price. We are not against it. We are happy. If prices come down, we also will be able to get lower, prices for the capital we have to do business. What we are addressing there is, look, only a few days ago, our members bought product. Some of them bought product in bulk. And the product have just arrived at their destination or about to arrive at their destination. And before they can even sell 1 liter in the same market, price has been reduced by 129 naira. Now, some of these products are up to about 20,000 metric tons. Multiply 129 naira by the size of that. You are talking about billions of naira that is going to be lost. And who is going to pay for that money? It's just like I have water, and then I sell you my water at 100 naira. And you have come to my station to say, to my shop to say, oh, thank God I bought 100 naira water. And then as you now buy 55 trailer loads of this water, I just quietly go to the same market and say, I've reduced price by 11 naira. So where are you going to be selling your 15 trailers? That is just what PETROL has said. We are not against Dangote at all. We support Dangote. We want Dangote to do the best they can. But what we are saying is, for instance, in a matter like this, that some of our members have brought this size of product, we should have been informed. Look, we are going to reduce price. This is just what we have been talking about. That it will be when a deregulated petroleum sector does not mean that you can be selling products at prices that are not market realistically, market oriented. And that's just the point. Otherwise, we support Dangote, we buy product from Dangote, and we continue to buy from him. But that will not stop us from saying what is right or what is not correct.
Okay, I think there's a lot of conversation that needs to happen for everybody to be happy. If we look through all of this, we can see everybody has their point. It's for everyone to hear everyone out and look for a middle ground. But we must thank you. Exactly. We want the sector to succeed. We want Dangote to succeed. We want all of you to succeed. So that's why we brought you in to say, okay, provide to us your own end of the conversation. He has provided it. That's why we keep shouting at NNDPR, stop hiding behind, come out and talk, so that everybody understands what's going on, because Nigeria is for all of us. But I must thank you so much, Mr. Billy Gillis. Dr. Billy Gillis-Harry is the president of the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria. We thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's it on the program. Nigeria is for all of us, and we want everyone to succeed. I hope that the subsector can come to some level of a round table and see what we can do to make that sector viable, energy security, and being a proper net exporter of petroleum product. But that's it on the program. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.